It's been over 2 years since we finished building our home here, Carcalla Beach House. Not only has nature taken root with our native gardens growing wild, but both the sun and the weather have beaten down, enriching its look and its unique personality. Well, we're back again, this time to build a pool and make some cool new additions. It's going to be our very own coastal oasis in the back beach sands of Blairgowrie. And we're going to show you just how we did it. So I suppose all that's left now is to make a splash. With those 2 years gone by since we completed our home, the story of Carcalla Beach House, for us, still wasn't quite finished. Its indigenous gardens and namesake Carcalla, set against the rustic weathering look and feel of our home, may have come into glory. But its final ending would now be rewritten. Our finished masterpiece would be created using the soft grey hues of bluestone coping, set against the pastel blues that glow from these glass mosaic pool tiles. And it's all wrapped in native Australian hardwood decking, toughened glass fencing, and the vibrant colours of drought-tolerant gardens. We'll also be installing solar power and solar battery storage, so that our home is maximising its energy efficiency. In doing so, we'll eliminate power bills and help save the planet too, all using clean green energy made by the sun. It's these smart new additions that will, of course, help power our new pool. And it's this new pool that will create a secluded oasis and private sanctuary in our very own backyard. And our palette and inspiration for this project is once again this ocean coastline and its rugged beauty that is impressed upon you for as far as the eye can see. And with every mighty splash starting as just a tiny ripple, the tiny ripple to this construction begins innocently enough with a rescue mission. With shovels at the ready, whatever can be salvaged of these coastal plants is quickly transported to safety. String lines soon crisscross the ground, for it's these lines that will be our navigation to the exact coordinates of this new pool, which, after months of waiting, is finally given the green light for construction, with our freshly printed building permit now in hand. Weighing in at a threatening 3 tonnes and rolling through like a boss, our excavation team gets straight into the dirty work. This new pool itself will be 12 metres in total length, 3 metres in width and 1.8 metres at its deepest point. Getting to this depth doesn't seem quite so hard, with the soft Mornington Peninsula sand. That makes easy work for Beau and his little companion at the helm. But little did they know they'd soon need the gnawing teeth of these machines to punch through the tough layers of sandstone rock compressed here over millions of years.
The top part was quite sandy and it was quite nice. Down in the deep section it got quite a hard sandstone, but just putting a smaller bucket on allowed us to get that out. And then just as we came up, the sand got a little bit better. The odd hard patch here and there, a bit of sandstone and limestone.
As truckloads of soil are removed for this new 50,000 litre pool, the origins of this pool's functional design had actually started a little over a month ago with a visit to my mates at Swim Mart.
Jordan.
Hey Chris, how are you?
Yeah, good mate.
Good to see you, mate.
Building a pool, as you know.
Yes.
What are we going to need?
Well, look, come this way, mate.
The keys to great pool design at the surface might be looks, but when you delve a little deeper, it's those clever homeowners that focus their attention on high quality equipment which pays the greatest dividends with their pool investment.
Look, this is what I'd recommend for your pool, mate. This is the Eco Sand Filter. It's a fiberglass filter. And then we've got the glass filtration media. The glass filtration filters very, very fine, so you're getting better water clarity, and it will work really well with the magnesium that we're going to put in your pool.
It's this enhanced water clarity with this eco-friendly pool equipment that will help us to create a water-efficient and energy-efficient pool with less chemicals too, which will not only help us save the environment, but it will also help us save money and maintenance time too.
So we've got our filter.
Yep.
We've got our chlorinator.
Yes.
We've got our pump.
Yep.
What about automation?
Yeah, look, come over here, mate.
With the other big ticket items these days being pool automation, the most important of these is all about keeping your pool chemically balanced and water perfect all year round.
This is what we're going to put in your place. So this is a Chem Plus by Waterco. What this does, it uses a probe here, and that probe tests the water. What it tests for is your pH level and also ORP. So essentially what ORP is managing your chlorine level in the pool. So it's managing how effective that chlorine is in the pool at that particular time.
So it's taking a sample?
Yep, all the time. Every 2 seconds, it tests the water. While the system's running, it's testing the water and adjusting.
The other major investment for us will be in extending the life of the swimming season, especially in the cold Melbourne months. And it's this electro heat heater that will work in unison with our Zane solar heating panels that together will keep us paddling for most of the year.
Solar in Victoria has naturally been the most popular, but now you're getting things like heat pumps. Electro heat pumps are very, very efficient, and gas heating systems. So you've got a few different options there to heat the pool, heat the water so you can extend the season for you and your family.
Above all though, the biggest factor for any family swimming pool is always pool safety. Tragically, 15 Australian children on average drown in backyard swimming pools each and every year. The ongoing awareness campaign by charities and the industry at large has never been so critically important to help prevent the unimaginable happening.
For every one fatal drowning incident, there are another 8 non-fatal incidents where the child requires hospitalisation, and they may have long-term brain injury and long-term effects and require 24-hour care. It's important to make sure that your pool fence is compliant with the Australian standards, and that will help from a safety perspective. But a key factor involved in many of these incidents where a child drowns is when they're not being supervised properly.
With constant and active supervision the number one life-saving tool, other important tips like removing attractive toys from sight, keeping pool gates closed, teaching your children water familiarisation, and even learning CPR in case of emergencies all help to create an Australia where no more children need be taken from their families. And this world far too soon.
Ideally, we would like to see a zero drowning toll in Australia so that children can learn how to be safe around the water and enjoy the water but do it safely.
Back on site and with the last of the soil and sand being lifted away, our Waterco delivery arrives ready for our plumbers. And it's these pipes that will kick off the pre-concrete plumbing. As the machines pull away for the day, this big pit is all that's left. And it's at this very point the enormity of this project appears in plain sight. And I start to wonder what on earth we just got ourselves into. Everybody knows a pool is made from concrete. And like any construction, the start of that process is always the plumbing.
We've got the sweeping elbows on this one. They have better flow than the standard type ones.
With our pool plumbing extraordinaire and expert Trent and his Top Gun apprentice and all-round good bloke Curtis together on site, they get started mapping out and installing our blue square in-floor cleaning system that will make for a hassle-free, fully automated self-cleaning pool. Because let's face it, who can really be bothered fishing out leaves on a Sunday morning when you can just simply press a button?
We were using the Waterco Class 12 50mm pipe, and it was really good quality, easy to cut. It was nice and flexible, not brittle at all, so we got nice clean joins.
And as any great tradie will tell you, getting the best tools and fittings for the job is a must to save headaches and future costs down the line. And never more is this true than when you're building a pool.
Oh, well, we definitely want to use a quality glue and the pipe and things, because if we have any mistakes under here, it's under the pool floor, so it would be a nightmare. We'd have to jackhammer up the floor, and I just don't even want to go there.
There is also a term called hydraulic resistance, which is a measure of flow through your pool plumbing system. In this construction, even the smallest details, like using the bigger 50mm PVC pipe and sweeping elbows, are a little Waterco engineering detail that makes a big difference to optimising the energy efficiency and performance of our pool plumbing system.
At the end of the day, we don't lose pressure, we don't lose the speed of the water, so coming out of the in-floor nozzle, we have more speed, more pressure, and easier to push the debris along the floor of the pool.
Steel soon arrives on site with our concreting crew, who start fixing the big old steel reinforced cage for our concrete slab and Thermacell ICF walls. A deep outer perimeter of trench mesh will be the footings and foundations to this slab, which give it structural support, with the upper webbed layers of steel engineered to give it the strength to withstand the enormous weight of water this pool will hold for its lifetime. As the week wears on, the last of the plumbing goes in, and we get cracking with our concrete pour. After time to cure, our glamorous new pool finally appears. Well, almost. You could say quite a lot of imagination is required right about now. It's also that point in the project when it all comes down to Dad and I, who take the reins of the hands-on work from here. With the prep work out of the way, and our delivery from Dave, the owner of Thermacell, right on cue, it was time to put our DIY skills to the test once again.
It's been 3 years since we finished building the home here out of this stuff, Thermacell polystyrene ICF. And at the time it took Dad and I about 5 weeks to complete. Well, it certainly isn't going to take us that long this time.
And the reasons why we chose to build with Thermacell is because for us, a chance to do it ourselves to help save building costs and time using this lightweight, super easy DIY construction system was important. With liquid nails and some hand-mixed concrete tacking down the first course, it was simply a process of threading these lightweight polystyrene blocks over the steel bars. As these thermocell layers started to climb over the next few days, and with yet more steel reinforcing tied in, we finally get to our finished height. And it's this totally unconventional looking polystyrene pool, DIY made from this innovative building technique, that most people simply don't know exists.
I think there's been a lack of pool construction in this way because of product knowledge. In times gone past, people usually will stick to what they know. They'll build with a conventional concrete pool, fiberglass shell, but I don't think they really know about the use of thermocell and the advantages of building a pool this way.
One of those major advantages is from the fact that thermocell is made from polystyrene, and being 98% trapped air makes thermocell an extremely well-insulated construction material. And it's this pool that we now push across the line of our next major milestone, being the completion of the concrete pool structure. With the concrete pump and tradies on site, a smooth, creamy concrete mixture flows between the steel and thermocell cavities and hardens into our final pool shell. And with surface preparation key to rendering, a pressure wash to remove slurry and bond inhibitors, plus a good scuff of the polystyrene, will mean we ensure a strong rendering bond. As with any concrete pool construction, the next step to the process is the rendering, which is designed to provide the substrate or foundations to the tiling stage. A fluorescent orange mesh is next cut and prepped, which is embedded into the render for extra strength, while a liquid rubber latex additive provides flexibility and hardness to our ATA specialist pool render. As the render flows, fast hands and a good technique start the process to getting perfectly smooth and level surfaces for the tiling phase. As the owner, inventor and visionary behind Australasian tile adhesives, Graham has spent 2 decades perfecting the formulas and recipes for heavy-duty commercial grade and domestic use, building and tiling adhesives and renders.
This is your warehouse here as well.
This is where we keep all the finished goods prior to shipping them out.
It's from this facility where Graham started ATA from ground zero to now where he produces 50 tonnes of product every single day, equating to an incredible 35,000 square metres of ATA product installed each and every week right around Australia.
And tilers, I think, are mainly your customer, aren't they?
Tilers are the end user and they are our customer in the end.
Used by the building experts and professional tilers, it's each of these colour-coded bags that correspond to each of his different formulas, all made right here on the outskirts of Melbourne.
And this is all made locally. This is all Australian made and produced product.
All Australian made, Australian bags, Australian made product, yeah.
And your formulas too, I think, isn't it?
Yes, these are all to our formulations.
Made over here.
Made in the factory, yeah. This is where they're made.
It's these coloured bags that contain the different additives, fillers and polymers that have each been designed by Graham over the course of the last 20 years. And each are specifically formulated for challenges and applications in the Australian market.
So, we have a wide range of temperatures in Australia and varying weather conditions and varying substrates. So in general, our materials need to be a little bit more flexible than some of the materials from overseas.
The most important of those building challenges in our case being our new swimming pool. Now, when it comes to building any pool, the most important part is that it can actually hold the water in. So using a specialist pool waterproofing membrane is a pretty obvious choice. This fluorescent orange ATA primer is the foundation coat, helping to form the base to the upper 2 layers to come. Next, this ATA waterproof membrane is painted on 3 layers thick. It's these olive-coloured coats that are the critical point to building any pool, because they are quite literally the only thing keeping the water inside. In this case, it was our personal preference to leave waterproofing the floor until last, which would help us prevent damage to this critical membrane during the tiling phase. And in saying that, choosing these tiles would be the next item on our pool construction agenda. The 2 biggest components to this project are water efficiency and energy efficiency. And when it comes to clean and green energy for the home, creating your own using solar power is king. And it's at Kranick Solar, a leading German global supplier in the industry, where I met with Marcus from LG Australia.
You're getting a solar edge inverter, very high quality gear. It is compatible with the batteries through the backup, so you're now getting a battery as well. So you're getting really the latest technology, and on top of it, you've got the top of the pop panel, which is the LG Neon. The LG Neon, compared to other panels, will actually make more electricity. It's higher efficient, which means you need to use less roof space. So in future, if you want to expand, put a more battery on it or electric car charging in the future, you got more room to use it. So right now, you actually get what I call the future-proof system, top of the pop technology, but at the same time, ability to add to it. You're not stuck. Inefficient panels, your roof is full, you can't do anything anymore. New technology developers, new batteries, isn't that? You can't do it. With your system, you can add more to it in the future.
It's these exacting standards from this $48 billion a year global technology giant who are helping to lead the world in solar energy and solar battery storage.
Our panels are made in South Korea in a fully automated factory. There's about 500 quality control processes. So every panel within 100ths of a millimetre has to be the same, otherwise it'll be rejected.
With more features and higher power generation packed into each and every LG Neon 2 panel, and with innovations like double-sided cell technology capturing spill light, plus their ability to outperform in the harsh Australian climate, is where homeowners get better long-term value from their investment.
More features don't only give you more bang for buck, they actually give you more output. One of the things that people don't realize is solar panels over 25 degrees actually deteriorate in performance. So that means on the really hot day where you crank your air conditioning, your solar could sit there very flat if it's a very cheap system. The higher quality ones like ours actually perform still excellent in hot weather. That's the difference between paying a little bit less and actually paying a bit more but getting a better outcome.
Although for as brilliant as solar power is, the industry has hidden a dark side of late, with many thousands of consumers being ripped off after falling into the trap of those shonky companies selling cheap and nasty solar systems.
And in Australia, since 2011, nearly 600 companies have gone bankrupt. When it looks too good to be true, it's 25 years, it's $3,000, it'll save me $30,000. Solar is not a magic pudding.
Ironically, as a passionate advocate of solar power, it's Marcus who is part of a growing chorus of industry-led voices who are pushing for greater consumer protections and ever more rigorous standards applied to the sector.
Right now in Australia, on my calculations, we've got out the 1.7 million systems installed, 600,000 about are orphans. What that means is that the company that initially installed it or the manufacturer that made the product are not there to support you, which means you're then actually stuck because your investment has just gone down the tube.
But people have got a warranty, don't they?
Yes, you have a warranty, but the warranty is only as good as the company that stands behind it. So if the manufacturer is not standing behind that warranty for whatever reason, maybe they left Australia, then it falls by the Australian consumer law back onto the installation company to make good the warranty. You've installed 1,000 inverters of a particular brand that is not around and they're failing all around the place. There's $1 million worth of fix-ups. It's much easier to turn solar shine into solar shinier and rebirth it again 3 weeks later, even in the same premises.
This problem of companies installing cheap and dodgy solar power systems and going bankrupt will make you the unwitting owner of an orphan system with no manufacturer's warranty to fall back on.
In 2015, for example, there were 480 different manufacturers offering solar panels, and they had 27,000 models on offer. And now, because we've tightened some of the regime of the quality, it's come down to less than 100 manufacturers and about 2,500 modules. And by the end of the year, it'll be tightened again, and my expectation is we only got 50 manufacturers left. But that means there's 26,000 models out there on roofs with about 350 manufacturers that are now not, you can't reach them anymore.
And when it comes to your investment in solar and the investment you make to help the environment, it's these systems that leave a terrible legacy.
In a lot of cases, that becomes what I call landfill solar. So from a CO2 output, you might have a system that's only 4 years old, 5 years, 6 years. It's supposed to have lasted 25. The people just got their money back, but they never made any money. And actually, from a CO2 point of view, we might have not even done anything. So from an environmental point of view, those really cheap systems are actually terrible because they're not assisting to what CO2 abatement and solar should be doing in the first place.
It's often the crudest rule, but it's by sticking to those companies that are simply too big to fail versus the smaller players that could easily disappear overnight that gives you a more reliable warranty.
Well, our warranty is pretty well second to none. There is not a bigger company in the solar space right now with an income level that LG has. So you've got one of the safest companies behind you.
Too big to fail, I think is the term.
I think in the solar space, you don't really want to use failure and that word because we've had a lot of solar manufacturers get out of business. We're not in that game. We're investing in the long run. So we're possibly a very big brother next to you for the long run.
This story of hard-working Australians getting ripped off by cheap and nasty solar providers is also backed up with hard data, captured by Solar Analytics, who actively monitor 23,000 solar systems right around the country.
So far our fleet is more than 23,000 systems Australia-wide, right across Australia and in about 4 or 5 countries overseas where we've just started moving. But our big focus is in homes, mums and dads in Australia, helping them and helping businesses as well who use solar.
And what is some of that data telling us now overall?
Something like 50% of solar systems in Australia are underperforming.
You've called Australia the dumping ground for cheap solar. How big is that issue?
It's a huge issue. It's a huge issue. In the past, we've seen as much as 50 or 60% of all the product that comes into Australia as being what we'd call tier 3, bottom grade materials. And Australia has become, sadly, the dumping ground for some of the cheapest, crappiest solar in the world. So it's like any commodity market. There's great choice, there's great variety, and that's a wonderful thing. But what consumers need to understand is that when you're putting something on your roof that you want to last for 25 years, the real outcome they're looking for in that is I want it to make energy as much as it can on my roof. I want it to last as long as it possibly can so I get my investment back. And I want it to be reliable. I want it to be trouble-free. And you don't get that, generally speaking, by buying at the budget end of the market. You need to move up the chain, buy equipment that's well built, well designed, has the best materials, and really can last in ultimately what's one of the toughest climates on Earth for a solar panel. So I would say that the number one tip is, the device that's going to have to work the hardest in your solar system is the panel. It's on the roof, in the sunshine, the rain, the hail, for 25 years or more. So spend a few extra couple of bucks on your solar panel.
As the peak body for the renewable energy industry, it's the Clean Energy Council who have been working hard to constantly improve industry standards through the use of approved products and installers.
In the last 12 months, we've added 1,484 panels to that list, and we've also removed 5,503.
5,503 individual products
in the panel market.
Yeah, that's correct. And those are panels that have not met the Australian standard or the international standard, which is required to be on that list.
Whilst also suspending 160 installers and cancelling 12 others.
It's really important for consumers to do a lot of research before they buy a solar system.
Back on site, our very own solar installation is getting underway. And now knowing all of the dangers, we take no risks and call in the top guns at Gippsland Solar. A system of brackets and rails are clamped onto the sheet metal of our roof, where wiring is next threaded along electrical conduit and connected into each of the Solar Edge power optimisers. It's these power optimising units that turn our solar panels into intelligent panels, with individualised real-time adjustments of current and voltage to each unit, to help each panel adjust to the sun and the shade for their precise positions on the roof. This means our solar system will be able to harvest and extract up to 25% more solar power throughout the day. And it's innovations like this that are made possible thanks to Solar Edge, the global leaders in solar power technology.
The panels on the roof, they don't all operate at the same rate, and they don't all produce the same amount of power. So an optimizer really allows the panels to produce at their maximum, and they're not weakened by weaker elements on the roof. And you might say, well, I might have a perfect north roof and I don't have any elements. Well, there's more to it than that. There's lots of things that impact one panel from the next.
With around 360 approved and pending patents in solar technology, this multi-award-winning company supplies to 120 countries around the globe. And at the core of every solar power system is the all-important inverter.
Well, in its basic concept, an inverter basically converts the solar power that's generated from the sun and transfers it or converts it into usable power for the home. Traditionally, it was seen as the heart of the system, but it is becoming more of the brain because inverters are becoming much more powerful in what they can do. It's not just about energy conversion anymore, it's about monitoring, but it's also about getting into batteries and storing batteries and smart energy management. And really that's where this is where the inverter industry is evolving to.
In helping to create their vision for the smart homes of the future, it's Solar Edge with their 24/7 real-time monitoring platform that, most importantly, gives you ultimate control over your home's energy consumption. And when it comes to smart energy management, it's investments like our new LG Chem Resu 10H solar storage battery that's now rolling in to help power our home.
So these are all made in South Korea, aren't they?
That's right. All the Resu range of batteries are all made and manufactured in South Korea, and that's where we do all our research and development also.
Established in 1947, it was South Korea's chemical manufacturer Lucky Chemicals that soon merged with consumer electronics brand Goldstar, and together became Lucky Goldstar, or LG as we know it today.
Just the bigger the batteries, the more it holds, the better the outcome for the family?
That's right. So typically you'll see here a whole range of different sizes of battery. The smaller the capacity, but we've got flexibility for the market, ranging from small homes to big homes.
Right, and I think this is our system right here, isn't it?
Correct. So this is the LG Chem Resu 10H battery and the Solar Edge hybrid inverter.
As the major suppliers in the global lithium battery industry for over 2 decades, it's LG Chem batteries that are used around the world in millions of mobile phones and laptops. They are also a major supplier to nearly every electric and hybrid vehicle maker in the market.
We do. So yes, we are again established in 1947, so very the original L in the LG. But additionally, yes, our focus on lithium batteries has been very strong since the 90s. And we do have a range of different patents. So we're investing very heavily to make sure we continue to be world leaders in this space.
And it's from this research and development where innovations in battery chemistry, like polymer pouch technology, as opposed to the old cylindrical cell battery design, that are pushing the frontiers of battery storage.
There's a lot of benefits with the polymer pouch design cells. So in particular is the energy density and the high power that you can get out of these products.
And at the end of the day, all of this high-tech solar storage technology will mean we're going to be harvesting and storing our very own clean green energy made by the sun on our roof. And it's that battery power that's all free of charge. With our new LG Chem Resu battery fresh out of the box, its installation would mean we can now run our home through their heaviest consumption periods, most typically from evening to night, all with free battery power. All that was left now to complete the system was to install our new LG Neon 2 panels on the roof.
For this particular system, quality had to be absolutely paramount. And we love that because for us, that's, most of our jobs are the best quality gear we can get. This particular system has the LG Neon panels to deliver the highest efficiency per metre square on the roof. The solar edge inverter with optimizers on every panel so we can minimise any shading losses in the morning and the afternoon. And then we have the LG Chem battery, which is a fully integrated solution. For us, this system with the LG solar panels, the solar edge inverter and the LG Chem battery, this is what we like to refer to as the Rolls-Royce system. This is the best quality product that we can get. It gives us great confidence knowing that the client will be happy with their long-term investment.
These exacting standards are not only necessary for our investment, but even more so for those big, heavy-duty commercial-grade applications too. With our home also being so close to the ocean, Mother Nature would be a formidable force to contend with.
The beauty of LG panels, for example, is that for some of these bigger projects where quality becomes even more important for us in a big investment, LG panels give us that security. A really good example is the Nobby Centre in Phillip Island. So the Nobby Centre, for anyone that's familiar with it, is the Penguin Parade. It's high up on the bluff, highly exposed to wind and salt mist. It's just on the coast. So the beauty of having the LG panels there with the highest salt mist declaration and wind loading means that we've just got complete confidence in that solution. And for us, it was really the only solution for an exposed environment like the Nobby Centre.
With the wiring finished, our brand new LG Neon 2 panels slip into their final resting place in the array and immediately get to work powering our home for many decades to come. As a family-run Melbourne business, Portelli Home Centre are the one-stop shop to all of our pool products, supplying not only ATA adhesives, but tiles, grout and our stone coping too.
Do you guys just do bathrooms too, or just tiles in general?
Bathrooms, we do flooring and we do pools.
And I've heard that glass tiles are becoming a fairly popular feature in pools now.
Yes.
Why is that?
It's really just a design choice. They seem to be more common now. They look great and more people are using them.
And it's in helping people to get the right design look for their pool where Lee and the team here help to pick the perfect tile for your project.
The most common are blue and green, and it I guess depends on the style that you're looking for. Blue will make your pool look more Mediterranean. Choosing green will make it look lagoon-like.
With our tiles selected, all we need to do now is start the tiling. When it comes to on-the-job training, there is possibly no steeper learning curve than when you're doing your very own building construction. And for Dad and I, as first-time tilers on this project, the daunting task of gluing and grouting 80 square metres of pool tiling now laid in front of us. Like anything though, the tricks of this trade are in the subtle art of the technique. Mixing this ATA specialist pool adhesives into a beautiful thick porridge-like consistency was step one. The next piece to the process was getting smooth, even notches of glue in one direction. And with a final wiggle and a bump, to get an airtight bond, all that was left was a good clean, ready for grouting. This production line, with Dad trowel notching the adhesive and me sticking on the tiles, would stretch on for weeks as we worked together through the 924 mosaic sheets needed to complete this swimming pool. After the walls are completely tiled, we get rolling with the last of the waterproofing for the floor, before we get back to laying the rest of the 31,000 individual glass tiles that would have to be glued, cleaned and grouted. It's also those practical, long-lasting benefits of this particular brand of tiles that give us the greatest peace of mind.
Glass mosaics, more vibrant, more colours, impervious to absorption, therefore non-porous. Colour range is fantastic, UV stable, so your colour will never fade. Chlorine stable obviously as well.
And when it comes to installation, it's in using a mesh backing with water-resistant glues that gets a better, stickier finish.
In terms of the mesh backing we use a cotton mesh as opposed to a fiberglass mesh. The cotton is thinner, so you get a better coverage of glue when you're applying it to the walls and the floor of the swimming pool.
And to cap off the pool tiling was the coping, being a honed grey bluestone from Portelli Home Centre to complete the look, with reinforcements needed to help lift and cut each of the 30 kilo stone pieces. We called in my Uncle Phil to get his crafty skills on site to help. And with the age-old technique of a glue, cement and glue sandwich, these stone pieces would stick firmly in place. Our pool plumbing team soon arrive, this time to install the Zane solar heating panels. The principal idea behind all solar pool heating is actually very simple. Just like the hot water that comes out of your garden hose on a summer's day, these panels, with their fine black tubing, are designed to absorb the sun's heat, which then boils the water inside, before being pumped back down from the roof into your swimming pool. The great complement to pool solar is pool heating, and with Trent and Curtis putting their muscles to good use, they lift in our Waterco Electro Heat heater. The filters and pumps are next to go in, and being part of the environmental range of Waterco products means they are designed to optimise energy efficiency and save water too. These glass pearls are also an amazing smart energy saving and eco-friendly addition. And filtering to 3 microns means we'll achieve the ultimate water clarity.
That is the most that I've seen out of any brand of glass media. With that lower microns, the pool water is just going to be crystal clear because it's filtering out any tiny little particles that may make the pool look cloudy.
The last piece to this puzzle are the electronics, which will completely automate our pool, all at the touch of a button. As the final installations of our pool fall into place, the most important safety element would be the glass pool safety fence. And with Dad and I being building enthusiasts and DIY lovers at heart, it made perfect sense to choose the architect's choice. A DIY system especially designed for everyday novices to install their very own glass pool fencing. And it's all available at your local Bunnings Warehouse hardware store. With a few simple tools being a drill, pencil, measuring tape and a ratchet, we mapped out where this new pool fence would go. Then it was the stupidly simple task of bolting each of the architect's choice matte black feet, which we selected to perfectly match the design look of our home, into the treated pine timber joists that sit underneath this decking. As each of these heavy-duty coach bolts wind their way in, by lunchtime we were ready to lift each of the toughened safety glass panels. Being 12mm thick and toughened to the extreme, To be able to handle the stresses of wind loads and the rigours of a family pool environment, it was a two-man team to manhandle each of the big glass panels into place. Repeating this process of lifting and tightening these glass panels would continue for the rest of the day. We'd also hinge our glass pool door and latches, which, being a DIY system, meant it was as simple as putting hinges A through screw holes B to create C, a fully hinged and latched glass door. With the fence done, it was time to get cracking on the landscaping. With trodden ground as tough as old boots, this rotary hoe is brought in to plough the soil for our new gardens. As it bucks and kicks this ground into submission, we'd gradually lay the path for the quelts of Lilydale Sir Walter DNA certified instant lawn that now arrives on site. As a naturally occurring grass species, it's those distinctive qualities of Sir Walter DNA certified grass that by chance stood out one fateful day to a humble Aussie farmer on his land in the New South Wales Hunter Valley.
Sir Walter is a really great choice for the Australian environment because down here in Melbourne it stays greener than pretty much any other buffalo variety. It is very drought resistant, it has good wear tolerancy, has good shade tolerancy. So as a general all-round grass, it's pretty much unbeatable.
It's these DNA certified quelts that are specifically harvested using this unique method that makes Lilydale Instant Lawn a cut above the rest and means our thicker lawn has the health and strength to thrive.
The way we grow and harvest our instant lawn is important, we think, more so for the Melbourne climate than any other, because we have the harsh summer and also the cold winter. So we grow ours in what we call quelts, which is a chunky, thick slab of turf, which in the middle of winter allows it to get through that really bad time with only very limited root structure to kick on as the spring comes on, and also in the middle of summer. Until it gets established, any grass will struggle if it hasn't got enough body in the when it's laid and gets water fast enough.
As the last of each of these quelts are laid into place, the transformation of our backyard was almost complete. With just a few plants left to finish the look, we had finally arrived at the end of this long and exhausting project. The ultimate satisfaction anyone can get from a construction of this size and scale is that moment all of the fruits of your hard work are right there in front of your eyes. With the final tick of approval from the building surveyor, we were finally finished. Aside from one slightly important element needed for every swimming pool.
Today is the big day. After months of grueling, painstaking work, we finally get to fill our new pool. I guess it's time now to get the water flowing. Let's do it. Dad, you can turn the tap on.
Okay, so a garden hose is a slightly anticlimactic way of filling the pool, although it did the job. Because only 30 hours later, all 50,000 litres were brimming to the top. Treating this water and double-checking the system would now be the domain of SwimMart.
Mate, it looks amazing. And guess what? I've brought you a pool handover kit so you can get cleaning the pool, mate.
Noodles and everything.
Noodles and everything.
With fresh water from the tap not yet being treated for swimming, it's in using specialist equipment that we get an accurate measure of the water quality.
So the results tell me that the chlorine level is a bit low, and that's to be expected because we're still adding the salt into the pool. So the salt chlorinated needs that salt to be able to produce chlorine.
And with the results showing that our tap water needed additional treatment, it's by adding salts that we help to sanitise the water for swimming. So this is the salt, yeah?
Yeah, so this is a salt. So you've got a salt chlorinator on the pool. So the salt chlorinator is using the salt to produce chlorine.
Yes.
The beauty of this is it's a purer form of chlorine than if you're buying it in a granule or a liquid.
Right.
And then as an additive, we've got the mineral crystals, which is designed by Waterco, and what that is it's putting magnesium into the pool. So they're magnesium crystals.
These magnesium mineral crystals are an additional additive that will make for that soft and silky skin feeling, to create a luxurious bathing experience for our pool. With a final double check of the installation, it was time to program our AquaMaster pool control system that will now fully automate all of our Waterco equipment, including everything from water balancing to chemicals, lights, pumps, filtration, heating and in-floor self-cleaning. In fact, owning a pool has never been so easy, because gone are the days of maintenance time and hassle, as technology and innovations like these mean literally everything is all programmed and controlled at the single touch of a button. So all you have to do is relax and enjoy.
So we've cleaned the pool, we've tested and balanced the water, so it's sanitised and safe to swim. The last thing you want to make sure that you're checking is your pool fencing. You want to make sure it's safe for the whole family to enjoy.
And with pool safety being so critically important for every Australian pool owner, it was a good chance to catch up with the team from the Architect's Choice.
Yeah, I think they've done a really good job with the install, considering we're going into the decking and into the turf as well.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And very stable, and looking at the lines on it as well. It's for a DIY job, it's absolutely brilliant.
It's this glass pool barrier system that has been designed with the DIY person in mind. And for Dad and I, a glowing review meant it was a perfect 10 out of 10 score.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Perfect.
And it's this glass fence that is not only designed to look architecturally beautiful and save you lots of money, it's also been designed to the highest levels of the Australian building codes and standards. Because it's these exacting standards by the Architect's Choice that, above all, help save precious young lives.
Yeah, number one priority is our children. There's nothing more important in life than saving one of our own.
And finally, there was one last thing to double check. And that was the results of our new solar power and solar battery system that had been in operation now for several months.
So in simple terms then, what's our power bill going to be from now on?
Oh, from the data I'm seeing here, even in winter it's looking like being nearly a zero electricity bill, because there's days that we're exporting to the grid, there's days that we're consuming slightly more than what the solar system generates. I'm seeing a $0 power bill or thereabouts, and then in summer significantly in credit. So it's looking like a great investment for the customer.
And that brings us to the end of our story, where it goes to show that anybody really can take the reins of their very own building project. Because you might find you're pleasantly surprised at what you can achieve. That being your very own building masterpiece, honed in your mind and brought to life by your hands. And this is what it's all about. The pool is warm, the drinks are cold, and the barbecue is firing away. There is simply no better way to enjoy the Aussie backyard. And it's on that note, it's time to say, see you later. For more information about this series, visit www.topproperty.tv.